with the Deskera webinar, and the topic for today is 15 email marketing tips to boost your conversion by as much as 5 times. And with me, we have the ever reliable David. Hey, David.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Saurabh.
So before we move on to the main topic today, as you can see, there is a stark difference between my hair and David's hair. And if we focus on David's hair, then we can see the fabulous way that it is blowing in the wind today. I mean, we are in, I mean, there are some windy conditions here within the office today. I don't know how, but yeah, I mean, just take a look at that, take that in, admire the beauty of it. And uh, so let's come back over to what we are here to talk about today, which is email marketing tips. So email marketing, I mean, there is a lot that has been said about it, and everybody tries their hand at it, and they go and look at stats like that $1 gives you $42 return on email marketing. And when you actually go ahead and try it, nobody even opens your emails, right? I mean, what is the thing, and what is it that people are doing because of which their emails are getting opened, and they are getting responses, and they're actually able to generate revenue from the email, and right, I mean, using email marketing. What is it that they're doing? And that is what we will try to explore today. Okay. So before we jump into that, let's take a look at what we mean by conversions, though. All right. So when we are talking about conversion, then you send out hundreds of emails, let's say. Then the first hurdle that you face is that is somebody going to open that email or not? And what you want to be aware of are the global benchmarks or standards that exist for these stepwise conversions. So the first hurdle is that whether somebody has opened your email or not, and the average open rate worldwide is 21%. Depending on the geography, it might be different. For example, in North America, it is closer to 19.2%. Rest of the world, it varies again depending on which country you are in, and who is your target audience. Then the average click-through rate is 2.5%. What is click-through rate? Let's say you have a link or a call to action in your email. Then this is the percentage of people who are actually clicking on any link in your email, and this is counted as a unique click. So if one person clicks on the same link twice, it doesn't count, right? It will count as clicked on those links, then your click-through rate or CTR would be 3%. So that's what we have here. And the global standard or the average or the benchmark is 2.5%. Then click to open rate is the percentage of people who click the email after, who click anywhere in the email on a link or on a CTA after they have opened it. And that is on an average around 20%. And these are the three benchmarks or milestones that you want to focus on first, and know where you stand compared to this. If you are doing better than 21%, awesome, that's a great job. But you can still move it even up. I mean, you can even you can still improve it. And that applies for all of these, and that is the focus of today's webinar, wherein we will look at what are the different things that we are missing out on, if or that we tend to ignore sometimes when we are running these email marketing campaigns, to improve these numbers and be a lot above the average. And just to put things in perspective, 105 billion emails are sent every day. So if you are thinking that 2.5% is a very small number, it's not, because that's 2.5% of potentially hundreds of billions of emails that is going out. And what that means is that even if you improve these percentages by fractions, you are going to see a big return on your investment. So it's all about making little improvements throughout your process, throughout your in the way that you're sending and configuring your email campaigns and your email copies and the subjects and the headers, and these little things, these little improvements are going to lead to a big impact in the output that you're going to see. So, what is it that matters? Why is it that 21% of the people open an email but not more? And what can you do to improve your open rates, improve the click through rates? So it boils down to a few factors. When somebody looks at your email, right? Do they get a feeling of trust by looking at that email, that okay, can I trust to open this email? Is it something trustworthy? Is it from a source that doesn't sound fishy? I mean, we all have received multiple emails that come from no reply, or from abc at xyz, or some weird looking email address, and you never want to even click them and open them, right? Then the second thing is attention. So, looking at the email, I mean, you have your inbox, and on an average, you're getting maybe what? On an average, you're getting 30, 40, maybe hundreds of emails every day. So, what is it that attracts you to an email, right? Does the email, the subject, the header, is it attracting your attention? And how can you ensure that the email that you are sending out is generating curiosity for the reader? It is attracting their attention, is something that we will look at. Are we communicating? Are we communicating something of value here? What is the benefit for the user? Is that being communicated properly? That impacts your CTRs. What can the user do about it? Are we giving them a clear path towards some measurable action or not? Or are we confusing them with the number of options that we are providing them in our email? Then cadence. So what is cadence? Are we following a process? Is there a rhythm to what we are doing? Is there a process? Is there a thought process behind how we are running email campaigns? Or is it just about you know uh, sending out thousands of emails and then hoping for the best outcome? That's not going to work, right? I mean, you have to have a process. You have to have you need to have some cadence. You need to have some logic inbuilt into your campaigns, and we will talk about that in greater detail. And then segmentation. Are you sending the right messages to the right people? Have you thought about whether the message or the email that you're sending out is relevant to your audience? So, talking about, I mean, while we're going to spend a lot more time on all these factors, which we call TAVAX, David, I mean, just, would you like to share some emails that you received that you normally would not open ever?
Oh, yeah. I got a lot of emails for political campaigns because of the elections and all that. So after I saw these emails, I just eventually tried to unsubscribe and then eventually just go to trash, put rules, not even wanting to look at them because it doesn't really relate to me. I'm not living currently in the United States, and them telling me about this is your power shortage, this is the water shortage. If I'm in California, that's great, but I'm not. So what's the point? So I just deleted them immediately because I didn't find it was relatable to me.
Yeah, this is a classic example of segmentation going wrong, right? If there has been some research done in properly segmenting the audience to identify whether the person is actually in the United States or if they are in that particular constituency, then you can run a better campaign. So maybe there would have been a different way to reach out to David, with a different messaging for, for example, maybe for Americans who are living outside, how they can, contribute to the election process. And that kind of messaging might have resonated with you, David.
Yes,
Right?
remove the wonderful taxes from what's it called? Living overseas. I get taxed twice, living in the States and living in Singapore. So that would have caught my eye. We're going to vote for me, and the taxes overseas people won't have to pay it anymore. Yay! I'm all for that.
So yeah, I mean, there are many such examples that all of us have encountered, wherein we got an email that just did not resonate with what we are looking for. And that's sad, because especially when I look at those emails, I feel bad for the person who's spending so much time and effort and energy to craft and copy. But without doing that proper research, it is just going to end up in the spam folder or in the trash. And it is going to impact your reputation, your domain's reputation. So I mean, there is a very real risk of getting blacklisted. So we are going to talk about all of this and more. But before we go ahead, let's just quickly look at TAVAX here. So what is TAVAX? TAVAX is trust, attention, value, action, cadence, and segmentation. It's a fancy acronym. Somebody's told me once that if there isn't an acronym, then people don't take it seriously. So I made up one, and here it is. So there you go, TAVAX. And let's move on. So let's talk about trust. All right. Now, if I see an email from the Prince of Nigeria in my inbox, I am never gonna open it. I'm never gonna open it, right? I mean, that's an extreme example, but there are many such examples, right? For example, I saw, I got an email where the name was spelled in lowercase throughout. I did not bother to open that. Why? Because when you see an email in your business, I mean, when you see an email in your business email account where the name is completely lowercase, right? You are not sure whether this is something, I mean, whether this is something serious or not, right? Similarly, if the email address is an iffy email address, you know what I mean, right? I mean, it is not somebody that sounds genuine, or it is some weird .com or some weird abc or something. Then there is I mean, it kind of makes me think twice before even considering whether to look at the subject or to open that email or not. So building trust is very important. And that brings us to the first point which we want to discuss, which is what is in a name here, right? I mean, there are three examples here, David. There is Exhibit A, which is, I mean, so when you open your inbox, you see an email from Gracie at Acme, and you see the email address Gracie at acme.com. Then there is another email which, where you see Acme Inc., which is the name of the company, and something marketing at acme.com. And then there's an Exhibit C, which is like, you see a no reply, or Prince from Nigeria, and something like that. And then you have no reply at acme.com. And which one would you open?
I would be more likely to open up Grace at Acme, but it all depends. It's based upon trust. For example, if I saw no reply at like Apple, for example, I trust Apple, so I know this email, then I'm more likely to open it. But if I don't know the email, it's a no reply, I'm just going to delete it instead. I'm not even going to bother to open it. Of course, if it's Grace at Acme and I know the company, I have some trust there, and I see a name, I'm more likely to open it up than not.
Exactly. And statistics agree with what David just mentioned. The most commonly opened emails either fall in category A, which is name at company, or where you have a brand name or the company name as the from, and you have a proper email address to back it up. If, for example, Exhibit B was Acme Inc., but the email was no reply, or uh, help at acme.com, then it probably would get rejected. Now, there are some interesting combinations here that you want to avoid. So if you are talking about your brand here, right? If you are sending out digests or updates to your prospects or customers, or to your blog subscribers, then you probably want to go with the brand name. But if you are doing an outreach, you want to reach out to people for sales, then you probably want to go with a more personal name. And that is what tip number one is. So what statistics tell us is that the the emails that are opened the most depends on the type of the email and the from address that you use there. So if you're sending out digest, newsletters, updates, any content that is going to provide more information about your organization, then use the company name in the from name and use a corresponding email address. So it could be marketing, it could be a newsletter at deskera.com, or marketing at deskera.com, or team at deskera.com, right? However, if you are reaching out to people to engage them as an for any kind of an outreach program, then it is always better to use a personal name, a person's name, and a person's email address. And you want to supplement that though with the name of the company as well. So if, for example, if I receive an email from Gracie, I might not open it, but if I receive an email from Gracie at Apple, then I still might open it. So that is something that we have to keep in mind if you want to build a trust with the user, right? Because that is literally the first thing that you see when you receive an email. You see the subject, you see who it is from, and if those two things seem off, your email is never going to get opened, right? Having said that, uh, it is always good to experiment with different combinations, right? What you really want to do is you want to do some A/B testing. You want to send the same email, keep everything exactly the same, just change the from, and notice any differences. If you do not see an appreciable difference between the two, or a significant difference between the different from names, then both will work equally well. Or maybe you just drop one and then you pick up a third one, and then just do a lot of A/B testing on this. And that will tell you exactly what kind of a from name does your audience resonate with. So that was tip number one. But that is just the start, which is basically building the trust by using a proper name and email address in your newsletter or in your email. But you still have to make them open the email. And that is where the attention part comes into play, right? And here is the fact, right? Based on the subject line, nearly half of the people open the email. So they look at the subject and they decide whether they want to open it or not. And the time that you have to capture their attention to generate any kind of curiosity is 3 to 5 seconds. I mean, that's it. People are scrolling the email list on their mobile and they see something interesting, they'll click on it, and it's an immediate decision. There is no deliberation, there is no thought process involved. It's whether they like it or they don't like it. So what we have to do as email marketers is to make sure that the subject line grabs their attention, it generates curiosity, and there are certain techniques to do that, which we will look at. Now, there are some good practices to follow for your subject line. So, most important is do not have a very long subject line. Why? Because your subject line will get truncated. Most email clients do not show more than 50 or 60 characters. So, if you are saying anything after that, nobody ever reads it. iPhone email app, for example, shows only the first 30 characters. So if you're not capturing their attention in the first 30 characters, you're not going to capture it at all. So you really want to focus on very specific action oriented or curiosity generating words in those first 30 to 50 characters. Typically, the best open rates are observed when your subject line is 6 to 10 words. So you can always aim for a sweet spot of 8 words, maybe. However, avoid free help and reminder in your subject line. They are proven to have a negative impact on open rates.
Yeah, reminder makes me think of what's it called? A bill that I have to pay. Like, reminder, you have so much money you owe us, or something like that.
Exactly, and the same logic goes for, to a certain extent, free, right? I mean,
Too
whenever
good to
you
be
see
true.
something that says free, you know that okay, this is. I mean, this guy is trying to sell me something, and there are enough people trying to sell us a stuff nowadays, right? You don't want to right away, jump the gun here by saying them, hey, it's the free thing, go ahead, take it. I mean, because the fact is, everybody knows there is no free lunch, there is no free thing. You have to give something in return, right? So while everybody says okay, free stuff, there is in reality no free stuff, and everybody knows that it's kind of hardwired into our thought processes now. So avoid free, avoid help, avoid reminder. Oh yeah, and avoid donate, because you most people will never click on that email. So even if you are running a campaign for a charity, right, do not use the word donate in your email subject. People don't open it. Donate is one of the words that has got the least open rate ratios amongst all the common words that you should generally avoid, right? What you really want to do is you want to appeal to maybe something higher, right? Right up like a bigger purpose. For example, something like uh,
A charity organization. So
yeah,
what's it called? Find out more about what's it called? Kids with certain disabilities, or meet Kelly and hear about her story or something like that. I guess
exactly. So you want to pitch using a different yeah, I mean, you want to use a different angle to pitch to them, but don't directly, I mean, so even though your CTA might be about getting the donation or getting some money from the person, you don't want to start with that, right? Because that's, I mean, people are just not going to open it. And yeah, here's the interesting part, right? Using one emoji in your subject line as to complement what you're saying improves your open rates by 56%.
Is
And
there a specific emoji that's more clicked on than others, like a smiley face, a thumbs up, or someone crying? Or is there a specific emoji that people use more
so
often? Or
that's a very good question. Usually, I mean, the most commonly used emoji is the smiley emoji, but you also have the thumbs up. And if it's again, I mean, if it's a country specific email that is being sent out, then there is usually a flag emoji that you can also use. So these are some of the most common ones. But yeah, I mean, the most commonly used emoji is the smiley, the simple smiley, right? You don't want to go too complicated with your emojis as well. Smiley emoji is something that everybody understands, and if it is some, or the thumbs up, that's something that everybody understands, and they are, I mean, it's pretty universal in how they are perceived and accepted. So you can't go wrong with that, and it does attract your attention. Why? I mean, we are trying to grab the attention, right? And emoji, in you have a wall of text, you're looking at your inbox, there's a wall of text here, and then in between there's a thumbs up or a smiley face, and it immediately catches your eye. At least it catches your eye, it does what it is supposed to do, so you have a higher chance of getting that email opened.
also, I guess it's important for cultural significance, which country you're in. I remember someone saying a thumbs up is also like a bad symbol in certain countries.
Yeah, so I mean,
So it's always country specific as well, I would say, based upon
fair
culture.
fair point. So yeah, I mean, I think you cannot go wrong with smiley though. Hopefully,
Oh, yeah, true.
I mean, you have to be sure. I mean, don't just put an emoji in something that is a serious matter though.
Oh, that'd be funny. 50 million or 50,000 people are dead. Smiley face.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
Please.
That'd be awful.
Macabre. So, tip number 3 is utilize the preheader. What is a preheader? So, if you are in front of your computers, which you probably are because you're looking at this, don't stop looking at this though. But you can just remember the last time you saw your emails. There is the from line, then there is the subject line, and then there is a small preview of what is in the email, right? This preview is something that you can customize. You can change this preview. It need not necessarily be the first few lines of the email, or if you're using some kind of email tool, then generally it is, you will see sometimes uh, display this email in a web browser or something, so that is the preview text that you're seeing there. So this preview text can be changed very easily. You just need to write one line of code, or there are tools that allow you to change the preview text as well. Just I mean, you just need to copy paste and put that in. Now, how to use that? Remember, you have 50 to 60 characters at the max, or I mean, if your audience is using an iPhone email app, maybe only up to 30 characters to grab their attention. Hey, you immediately have an additional 40 to 50 characters available to you if you use the preview. So think about this, right? You have an email, right? There's the subject. You have a nice subject, and in the preview, you mention you got to open this to find out, right? So I mean, just a simple call to action in the preview that you can customize and add. It can do magic to your open rates, and it is. I mean, statistics show that adding a preview, a customized preview, or the pre-header uh, boosts your open rate by up to 30%, which is a significant number considering the number of emails that are floating around. So please use this. If you are not using this, do not leave the preview as default. You have a tool at your hand here, at your disposal. Use it, utilize it, create an engaging subject followed by a call to action in your preview, or just extend your subject uh, to your preview, and use this real estate that is made available to you. Now, often we get this question asked that, does personalization work? The short answer is yes, it does. We like to hear our name, right? And if you have a personalized subject line with your name in it, then typically, I mean, they have been known to have 26% higher open rates. So if you're still sending out emails without putting the name of the person, or if your email list does not have the name of the person, put that extra effort to get that name in, include that name in your email list. Now there are different combinations. Obviously, do you want to put the first name? Do you want to put the first name, last name? Do you want to put Mr. last name or Miss last name? Um, well, there have been studies done on that as well, luckily. And first name works the best. First name works better than first plus last name or any other combination by a factor of 19%. Again, 19% is a significant boost to your open rates, considering the number of emails that you would be sending out. Of course, you have to be careful, right? When you're adding personalization, it should not be, "Hey, David, open this email," right? That's not going to work. So you still need to work on the other elements. I mean, it's not just one thing. I mean, if you just have, I mean, don't just think that by adding the first name, and not trying to put in a proper subject line, or having a random email address or from name. I mean, they're still going to bring your open rates down. So you need to make sure that all these things are being addressed. So just David, I mean, any thoughts from you? I mean,
I'm just
how do you
thinking.
behave? I mean, when you see an email that says, "Hey, David," or "David, I have got something for you" in the subject, versus "Download this file," or
For
if the subject
me,
says "Download this file," or "David,
I will
we have
delete
got this
it.
awesome thing."
If it says download this file, I'm just going to delete it on the spot. I mean, for me, it's like, what is this, a virus? Are they going to lock up my computer and do ransomware me? I'll just delete that. Or if it's more personalized, and like you said, it actually is relevant to me. Like, for example, "Hi, David, look at the new NBA schedule coming up. See which games interest you," or something like that. Since I'm like NBA and I'm a big fan of that, I'll be more tempted to open them. Like, "Oh, cool. What are the new games coming up? I want to see that. Ah, this team's playing that team. Awesome. I'm going to want to watch that. Let me click on the link and see when it's going to be available." Something
Exactly.
like that.
So yeah, I mean, all the elements have to come together. We are still talking about the subject here, remember, folks. And just for the subject, there are things that you can do to improve your open rates, like including personalization, making use of the preview slash pre-header, and making sure that you are sending it out from the right. I mean, you have a attention grabbing, curiosity generating subject line, not just a plain call to action.
Just wondering about the format for the first name. If it's lowercase, like David, if I see David with a lowercase d in front of it, I'm less likely to click on it than a capitalized D. It looks like the
Absolutely.
formatting is not correct.
Absolutely. So you want to be very specific about the formatting. Make sure you get the spelling right. There is, I mean, if you are writing to Gracie and you spell it Garci, she's not going to open it, right? So yeah, I mean, just make sure your lists are correct, up to date. You have take that extra effort. It's very easy to convert the first letter to an uppercase and to use title casing for names. I mean, Excel or Google Drive, you can do it quite easily, just by clicking a few buttons here and there. So take that effort, take the time, sanitize your lists. Very important. Now, let's say that the person sees your email, they like the subject, they are attracted by what you have to offer, and they open it. What then? This is when we are in the range of CTRs or click through rates. You have crossed the first hurdle. You have made that person open the email. However, you still have the second more important uh, function to achieve here, which is to make them do something with that email. And let's look at a few numbers here first. The highest click through rates or CTRs are for hobby related emails. The second highest is for media and publishing. And for emails with videos, you see a 300% increase generally uh, in the click through rates. Why is that? Because, so I mean, these numbers tell us a story, right? It's not just numbers for the sake of it. They are telling us a story here. Now, for example, David just shared his example, an instance where he's interested in NBA, right? So if he sees an email that's talking about NBA, he's more likely to open it and he's going to take some action on it because that's something of interest to him, right? Similarly, if there if I have opened an email, right, and there is a video in there, normally there is a small video preview and people would tend to click on it if they want to see, I mean, if the video is engaging or anything that interests them, then they will click on it and immediately that's a click through that is registered and it takes them to the video's landing page or the platform where the video is on. So they're clicking inside the email, they're taking some action, and that's an interesting aspect that you should not miss out on. If you have the opportunity to put a video in your email, do so. However, you still have to be relevant and to the point. Why? Because on an average, as I said, all of us receive multiple emails every day. On an average, I mean, some of you might be towards the higher side of that average, and some of us may not be. But on an average, 30 to 40 new emails every single day land in our inbox, right? And let's say that you have crossed the first hurdle, you have made them open the email, you want to be talking to them about something that interests them. That is exactly the reason why hobby related emails or media related emails or emails with videos tend to get more clicks through. Why? Because they are more engaging. So are you creating anything engaging for your audience? Um, is it something that is relevant for them? As we saw earlier in the example, David, right, when you mentioned that you're getting emails about constituency related problems which are not relevant for you right now. So you're getting emails that are not relevant for you. So even if you open it, maybe you open it once, but you're not going to do anything about it because they don't talk about the problems that you have, right? And that is where being relevant and to the point and doing your research comes into play. Are you sending your emails to the right person? Have you put in the right elements in the body of your email? How to put the right elements in is something that we will take a look at in greater detail very quickly. But here is something slightly contradictory now. I mean, earlier I said that if you have videos, then you get a 300% higher CTR in general. However, statistics also show us that text emails works better than generally email with images. So you can. So what I'm talking about here is that we have all seen those nicely designed emails with images. There's an image background, and there is another image on front, and then you have multiple images, and then there is a CTA. So do they work as well as text? Again, depends on the context. If you are sending out a text email, let's say for a e-commerce cart abandonment, right? That probably is not going to work as well because you really want to show the person what they have missed out on, and you want to put that image in there. However, if you are reaching out to somebody for the first time, or you are engaging with them to for any purpose, right? Then text works better. If you have too many images, etc., they don't know you, they have never engaged with you in the past, chances are they're not gonna bother waiting for the email to load on your device, even though irrespective of how quickly it loads, right? I mean, because that's too much information. Images uh, carry a lot of information in them, and text is more focused. So if you want to build a connection with somebody the first time around, or you want to build a relationship with them, start with text. And once they are aware of your brand, aware of your company's brand, then only switch over to images.
Yeah, I find that's the case when I actually get an email that I don't know and I actually click on it. I see a lot of images. It looks like an advertisement to me, and I just go and delete it, or I click unsubscribe because it looks like I just see the pictures. I don't read the text, and it just looks like an advertisement, and I'm unsubscribed and I'm gone. So
Exactly. Yeah. So that's, I mean, yeah, exactly. That's a very valid point. So if you're reaching out to build a connection, to build a relationship, or just to let them know about, that, you want to talk to them, don't use images. They look salesy. And yeah, I mean, they might think of it as an ad. Nobody wants more ads. Trust me. So, but yeah, I mean, even if you're using a text email or a text only email, you can still add video links there. Most email clients will show a small preview of the video, and people tend to click on those things. As we know, stats show us that 300% more interactions. So make use of that video. If you have to use images, make sure you're adding alt text. Why? Because depending on the client and the security settings, uh, your image may not display at all. Alt text is the text caption that you might want, that you put for your images, that would show up if in case the image does not show up, or if the image does not load, right? So play safe. Always have an alt text which explains what that image was doing here, or the purpose of that image. So at least even if the image does not load, you still are giving that message across. Otherwise, it's just something blank, and then there is some text written, and people don't understand why is there a blank space on top, right? So make sure you're putting in alt text, because you never know the connection that that your reader may have, or you never know what kind of security policies they may have implemented which prevent images from loading completely or at all. Then if you have to use images, don't use more than one. I mean, there is actually a kind of a weird distribution here. Uh, if you are using more than one, but up to 10 or 12, then your click-through rates keep going down. Again, these are numbers that we have. So if you use one image, your click-through rate is close to 2.6, 2.7. And then as you start adding more images, every extra image that you add brings your click-through rate down, because with images it takes longer to load. There is more information in the email. The person does not know, okay, what should he do with that email? I mean, because it's just a lot of information there, right? However, as you cross 10 or 12, the click-through rate again starts going up. Now, why is that? So that's a good question. So typically, click through, I mean, if you have more than 10 or 12 images in your email, then chances are that you are sending some kind of storefront to your customer, and it is those specific cases which drive the click through rate up, because you're sharing a lot of images of a certain kind of product that the person has shown some interest in. However, do not use this as a general rule, unless you are sending out very specifically your storefront or your e-commerce products that the person has shown an interest in. So you're sending them 10 or 12 or 15 of images from your catalog. Do not use more than one image in your email. And always include share buttons. Make it easy for people to share the content that you have in your email, especially if you are showcasing your catalog, if you are showcasing any video or any interesting report or file or whatever, or a link that you want people to be able to tweet about, etc., make it easy for them to tweet it, share it, post it right from the email by putting those social share buttons. They improve your CTR by up to 28%. Then, talking about email content, right? What kind of content helps you grab attention? So I call it the triple A content, where the triple A stands for attention, anticipation, and action. So if your email is structured in such a way that the first part of your content is generating attention and curiosity, the second part is where you are building anticipation, and the third part is where you're leading to action, then chances of your email being clicked through, or the person acting on that call to action that you have provided, uh, increase by a significant percentage. So, how do I do that? How do I build attention? Now, imagine an email that you opened, and the first line is talking about what the company does, right? Uh, uh, we provide exemplary consultancy and delivery services to clients like you. This does not grab attention because you're talking about what you do, not how you can help me. So, what you want to focus on in the opening line or the opening para is uh, either use an interesting anecdote or a direct problem statement or some kind of FOMO, which is fear of missing out, to generate some attention. This is going to be very specific to what business you are in, of course, but you have to think about it from the user's perspective. You cannot be talking about yourself because the user is not interested in who you are. They are interested in what you can do for me, of course, unless you are Taylor Swift or somebody. So in that case, you wouldn't need to introduce yourself. So yeah, I mean, if you need to introduce yourself, don't introduce yourself. Talk about what you can do for the person. Talk about how you help them. Talk about what problem you can solve for them. Talk about the problem that the industry is having, because chances are they'll also have that problem, and share with them how you have solved it. That is what you have to do to generate attention immediately. That is the first thing that you want to do after saying hi to them. Otherwise, you would have lost them. Then, anticipation. Why should they choose to act? Right? Why should they believe you when you say that you have solved this problem? You have to reinforce your uh, attention grabbing technique with social proofs, with videos, with uh, just put reviews from your customers in there. We solved this problem for XYZ customer. This is what they had to say. Or here is a video. Just click on it, and you will see how we have solved this problem, and we can do the same for you. But you have to build that anticipation that yeah, there is a problem, or there is something that the person needs, and you have found a way to solve it. You have already figured out what to I mean, you have done that, you have proven yourself, and now having established that, you ask them to do something, which is click on the CTA, book a demo with us, or click on this link and do XYZ. Again, that is going to depend on your industry, but you should not, number one, ask to jump for them to jump to the CTA right away. That's not going to help. If you do not grab their attention by trying to solve their problem, again, they're never going to move down this funnel. So keep that in mind when you are writing your content. If your content is not generating attention in the first paragraph, in the second section, if you're not creating anticipation of what you can do, and if you're not then closing the deal by asking them to do something very specific, then you have lost them. So there is an interesting, actually, yeah, before I move to the next point, David. So if you have an email, right, which captures your attention, which shows you how it has solved the problem, and then it gives you three things to do at the bottom, versus there is an email that has only one CTA, right? What are the, I mean, how would you react or behave in that?
I'd actually be more interested in the one that provided the actions. These are the three steps. And it would depend. For example, if I see something like my wife likes to grow vegetables and now she's growing some jalapeno chili, for example, and if it was talking about how to grow this chili better, these are some tips to help grow the chili better. These are the people saying that we've grown the chili or show a video of this wonderful chili growing. And then I saw the three tips. I'd probably share that with my wife so that way she'd be able to go and try it out and see if her crops grow better, her plant grows better and stuff like that. So it all depends. If I have tips and I can see if the tips are working after I use it, I'll be more interested in actually receiving more mail from them. Or if it's just, telling me something very simple, then I'm not very, there's nothing I can do. It's like, oh, thank you for the information, but there's no way I can see if it's correct or not. Then, okay,
Yeah.
delete.
And so there have been experiments conducted by multiple organizations, wherein if you have multiple CTAs in your email versus one CTA in your email, and everything else is exactly the same. So let's say you have one button or one call to action or one link, right? Versus multiple buttons. Click through rates are higher when you have only one CTA. So if you are putting in too many buttons or CTAs, etc., don't do that, because that's going to confuse the person. That, okay, should I choose this option? Should I choose that option? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to it later.
Also, it
And
looks
they never come back, because once they're out, they're out. Now, interesting thing. I mean, everybody knows this, but still a lot of people don't do this, because there are so many times that I open an email on my mobile and it's messed up. It's skewed. The images are out of place. The text is garbled. Why? Because it's not been formatted for mobile. And this is probably because people are still using some of the older formatting tools. Please don't do that. Make sure that you're designing your email keeping in mind that your users are gonna be on mobile, right? More than half, I mean, nearly half, in fact, a little bit more than half of the emails are opened on a mobile phone, right? Um, that's how it is. And there is another interesting statistic which I have not included here. Uh, in the US, about 52% of the people check their email either in the bathroom or while commuting. So, and they are doing it on the mobile. They are not carrying the laptop with them there. So, so yeah. I mean, make sure that you are designing for mobile. If your mobile, I mean, if your email is not mobile responsive, might as well don't send it out. Which brings us to the next point, which is action, right? How do you make people, I mean, what are the best practices? You have grabbed the attention, you have written some valuable content that grabs the attention, builds the anticipation, you have provided everything. What are the points that you need to take care of in order to make sure that somebody actually clicks or does something with that email? Now, why this is important? Because uh, people are more likely to get a click from an email than a tweet or any other kind of social platform content, up to 6 times more. Emails are powerful, right? I mean, if somebody's telling you that email is dead, social media is the next thing. Not right now, at least. I mean, today the stats are very much in the favor of email. They're not in the favor of social media. Email beats social media down, by a big margin. Now, you obviously want to make sure that you that the person does something in the email. They click on that CTA. So if you're now, you can give your CTA in multiple ways, right? You can add a link, you can add a button. My advice would be to always have a button in the email. Why? Because 28% higher click-through rates when you use buttons. Also, it is easy for people to miss the link sometimes. Uh, Depends on how the link is getting formatted, the color, the brightness of the screen. You never know. I mean, whether you are able to clearly see the link or not. But a button always stands out. So it stands out. It's easy to click or tap, and you're just making life easy for the person. That hey, I have here is the thing that we can solve for you. Here is the button. Click on it. You don't have to think. You don't want your user to think, okay, which link, where is the link, where should I find it? No, don't do that. Put a button there. Let them click on the button. And by adding social buttons, you actually increase your CTR by 158%.
What is a social button?
Social buttons are so, for example, in addition to your main CTA, right? You can add tweet this information, or post it on Facebook, or share it with a friend. So you do that, and if you have interesting content here, let's say you are sending out a newsletter, okay, and the newsletter has got some interesting content, some great statistics, and some insightful thoughts that you read, and you're like, hey, this is good, I want to share it with David, but how do I do it? Do I have to click on if you don't have a social button there, then you have to go search for the forward option, then you have to type David's name, and then you have to send it through. Nobody wants to do that much, right? I mean, we are all busy people. So you make it easy for them to share the content by putting in social buttons. Even if they're not doing the main CTA, they are at least sharing it with somebody who might be interested in that, and that's a win for you. So which brings us to tip number 9, which is avoid button blindness. So what is button blindness? All right, there are certain buttons that people have learned to skip over, things like buy now or learn more and download, because they're so, I mean, they are used by everyone. We have been seeing them so much that they just don't register as an actionable item anymore. So this is called button blindness. You don't want to fall into that trap. Avoid standard terms like learn more or download or buy now, stuff. Instead, use strong action verbs like get this book now, or view this video now, or book a demo now, or find out how we can help you, and so on. What you want to do is focus on these. Now the thing here is that over a period of time, these will also fall into the button blindness range. That's going to happen. But by then you will have had, I mean, there is no shortage of action verbs that you can actually use. But yeah, I mean, avoid, learn, download, buy. Use more of get, view, book, find. They generally have a higher CTR. And yeah, make sure that your button is easy to find. So if you have white background with a white button, or a gray button, doesn't help, because they can't see it easily, right? Another technique to use is use your CTA as a low risk ask. What is a low risk ask, right? Basically, this is about building your funnel. If you have a sales funnel in place, for example, you send out an email asking to download an ebook instead of asking to buy your course, right? I mean, chances are that if somebody sees buy my course now, they're not going to click on that and put in the credit card right away. But if you're offering them a free resource, and you just ask them to do a low risk action wherein you just click on it, download the ebook, it takes you to a landing page, and from that landing page you can then try to take them further down your funnel. That is what you would want to do with your CTA, especially if you're trying to sell something, or if you are asking for money in any way, which, let's face it, I mean, that's why we are sending out those emails, right? So if you need that, don't ask for your money right away. Give them a low risk, low effort task wherein they are getting something, and then guide them to your funnel, and from your landing page, take them further down your funnel. That's what you should be doing. Do not ask them to go directly to the last stage, using your email. Chances are they're not moving around with their credit card waiting to just put it in at the first instance that somebody asked them to. Now, that was about the email. I mean, we talked about the email from subject and the body and the CTAs and the action points. However, there is a lot more to sending out and running a successful email marketing campaign, and cadence is what it comes down to. So, uh, just to share some numbers with you again, average bounce rates are about 2%. So if you have an email list of 1,000 people and you send it out, chances are 2% of those folks, or about 20 people, are uh, they are incorrect. Their emails are incorrect in the system, so you won't be ever reaching them. Or there could be some other reasons. I mean, there are multiple reasons behind bouncing. So on an average, you get bounced 2% of the time. If your bounce rates are higher than 2, I mean, especially if they're significantly higher, then you definitely are not maintaining your email lists, and you should be paying some attention to that, because if you keep getting bounced over and over again, you the chances are that you will get blacklisted, or your domain will get blacklisted. You don't want that to happen, or your domain reputation is going to fall, and you don't want that to happen. Typically, most email marketers remove an email 3 to 5 times after there is no response from that email. Why do they do that? This is again part of the process, part of the cadence that they have built, uh, so that your bounces keep going down, your unopened rates are not unnecessarily impacted when you know that, okay, this person is not interested in what I'm talking to them. Why do you keep sending it to them? I mean, they're going to get frustrated. They're probably going to mark you as spam somewhere down the line. So definitely you don't want to do that. And if you have a process in place, then you can automate it. If you have a process, it can be automated. And if you automate email campaigns, the results show that you get up to 320% more revenue generated, because you're not doing things manually. Things happen faster. There are rules that followed, and they just make the process run. So what is the trick here? One, you have to be consistent. You don't just send out one email and leave it at that. You need to have a sequence of emails that need to go out. Right now, how would you typically construct a sequence? Let's say that there is an outreach mail that you have, which is supposed to go to 100 people. How would you construct the sequence here? Maybe you're trying to tell them about a great ebook that you have just released, and you want them to download it, or maybe you want them to come on a webinar, right? You send it out to 100 people. Out of those 100, maybe 30 people open the email. So now you immediately have two segments here: one, people who have opened the email, and those who have not. And you need to now approach these two segments differently. You don't want to send the same email to all of them. No, definitely not. Sorry about that. So yeah, I mean, you need to segregate. You need to have a different sequence for those who have opened versus those who have not opened. And even in those who have opened, if somebody has done your desired action versus a secondary action, you want to have a separate sequence for that. So you have to spend some time to build that sequence for all the different use cases. If you're not doing that, and you're just sending out generic emails to all of these audiences, then you're not following the process here, and it will be a lot more. I mean, you will never get the results that you could get by building a process, executing it, and then automating it. Now, how many emails should you be sending out typically? Most people prefer 2 emails a month from a subscription. You can go up to once a week, maybe. Going, I mean, if you have an automated process, then you can easily manage this. However, if you're doing it manually, chances are you may end up sending the same email to multiple people over and over again. And or if you don't have a process in place at all, then it's going to happen that you will send out emails to the same people over and over again, which will lead them to either blocking you or putting you in spam, or just outright ignoring you, and you don't want that to happen. Plus, it is proven that consistency of the process here, which I mean, it also helps the readers to form a habit, right? I mean, they expect to see your name in their inbox every Wednesday, for example. And so on Wednesday, when they see, I mean, when they open their email and you have a process in place, you're following that process, you are doing it in a rhythm with cadence, then people automatically expect things to happen, and they also follow that pattern, and you immediately start getting better open rates. However, if let's say one email you are sending out on Wednesday morning, the other you are sending out on Friday night, and then there is one more that is going on Monday night, then there is another that is going on Thursday morning, then you're just trying to do things as they come, and that's not going to help you. So this often gets asked, which is the best day to send out emails? There's a lot of debate on this. Some studies show that Tuesday is the best because Monday is usually there's a little bit of hustle bustle on Mondays. Tuesdays, people have kind of gotten over their Monday hangovers. They have gone through all their work emails, which have also piled up, over the weekend in their inbox. So Tuesdays, their inboxes are more clear and they're more prone to open uh, emails on that day, which are not exactly work related. However, as I said, there is some debate on this. And what people have found is that as long as you're consistent and you're doing it on a regular basis, on the same time, at the same date, uh, you tend to improve your open rates over a period of time. So being consistent is the key here. Obviously, if you're doing B2B emailing, then weekdays are better than weekends. But for B2C, I mean, it's pretty much open season. And as we saw earlier, right, automating the campaigns help you increase your revenue by up to as much as 320%. And if you build a drip campaign, you automate that campaign, then you are going to save a lot of time, which will help. And what do you do with that time then, you might ask? You can run more experiments, you can do more A/B, you can try out different copies and see which one improves the CTR, the open rate, the click to open rate. Which I mean, the more you experiment, the more data that you collect, the better your email campaigns are going to be. And that is only going to be possible if you're automating the actual running of the campaign. If you're not automating campaigns, you're not, I mean, you're spending all your time in, making that segment list and then moving contacts from one list to another. And then, basically changing I mean, removing the unsubscribed people from the list, then that's not the best use of your time. You have to spend your time doing experiments, doing A/B tests, not in managing the admin work behind running a campaign. So, how many emails should you send out, even if you automate it? Um, Again, one email per week gets the highest open rates. Typically, if I keep getting the same email, let's say, from David every couple of days, or how David used to send Kung emails earlier.
He actually
Kung,
unsubscribed.
he actually unsubscribed. Yeah, think
Yeah.
about it. Yeah,
My colleague.
your colleague. That's sad.
It's very
Yeah,
depressing.
because it's because you kept sending him emails every day, right? So yeah, that's why he unsubscribed. So yeah, I mean, that's what happens in real life also. If I keep sending you emails every few days, you are gonna start ignoring them. Eventually, you will either unsubscribe or move me to blocked or filter or whatever. I mean, you're gonna do something.
For example, actually, for one political email in 1 week, I got 35 emails from him. I was getting it from him, his wife, his children, other contacts, and it was just piling up. And I finally clicked on email just to find the unsubscribe button. It's like that was the whole purpose of it, just to get rid of this and stop flooding in my mail. So I'm looking. And it took me a lot of time just to find that button so I can just click it. So I won't have to deal with this anymore.
Yeah. So actually, what they might have seen a bump in their open rates that day, and they'd be like, "Yeah, something is working." So, but actually, it was so. So yeah, I mean, don't just look at one stat. Don't just look at one stat. You have to look at all the stats. You have to look at your unsubscribe rates and bounce rates and whatnot. So please, yeah. And sending one email per week results in an improvement of approximately 17.3% in your CTRs, and about half of email marketers follow this approach. They do not flood the inbox. You don't want to make that person want to unsubscribe, so you have to walk a thin line. Again, I mean, as I said, there is no right or wrong answer here. If you're sending out transaction based emails, hey, there is nothing that can be done about that, right? But if it is campaigns, marketing campaigns, try to limit it to once a week. And which brings us to the final section in TIVAX, which is segmentation. And what is segmentation and why is it important? Segmentation is uh, breaking your lists based on categories or personas or any other parameter, right? So let's say that we at Deskera are sending out emails, right? Now, who are we sending out these emails to? So there are different kind of business users that are out there. There are owners, there are CEOs, there are accountants, there are HR managers, there are sales managers. And if I try to send the same email to everybody, what am I going to tell them? I mean, how am I going to grab their attention? Because all of these folks have a different pain point. So if I'm not segmenting my list by these personas, then I will never be able to create or construct a message that grabs their attention, which means I'm just going to end up in their trash. And the same is going to happen to you if you are not taking the time to do proper segmentation of your audience, of your email lists. And doing that has got very tangible benefits. You get 100% higher CTR for segmented lists. There is an average increase of 760% in revenue generated from segment list. And you get 6 times as many transactions with segmentation and personalization. There is absolutely no reason for you not to do segmentation. Segmentation is one of the uh, driving factors behind getting that $42 out of $1 from email campaigns. But this is also one of the most overlooked parts. So how do you do segmentation? You have a big list. You have a list of, let's say, 100,000 emails, right? Now not all of these 100,000 people are, they think the same way. So you have to do some research. You have to find out, uh, again, it's something that's going to be dependent on your business or what field you are in, or how you want to approach them. So you can have segments based on industry. You can have segment based on their job titles, their roles, which time zones they are in, right? I mean, if I'm sending out one email to all the CEOs who are, in North America and Australia and Singapore at the same time, half of them are not even going to open it if I have not segmented my list, right? Even though it is something that is relevant to all of them. So you have to segment, and you have to segment again depending on what is your audience, where they're located, what kind of pain points they have. And for each segment you need to have a different email, a different content in place which addresses their pain point. That is what is going to help you achieve those magical numbers that we see here. Once you have decided what are the parameters on which you want to segment, then you have to personalize the subject and the content based on the segment. So when we talk about personalization, it is not just putting the name in, right? So for example, if I'm sending an email to somebody who's managing the finance of a company, then I would say, hey, James, we make filing GST easier. However, if I'm sending the same email to the CEO of a company, I'm going to say, hey, Dave, uh, we help you improve your cash flow by 10%. Because he's looking at a very different problem. The problems of the finance guy is very different. And you want to address your subject based on the segment that you're reaching out to. So just personalizing with email, with name, is not going to get you as big a jump as segmentation would. And building dynamic segments is going to help you save a lot of admin time. So what are dynamic segments? What So let's say that you create that you're using a CRM, right? And in that CRM you create a filter that, okay, all the people whose job title is CEO and who are in the city of uh, Washington, let's say, right? This is my segment. Now you created this rule in your CRM, in your list. You created this filter. Now, what a dynamic segment is, what a dynamic segment will do is that anytime a new contact or a new name or a new email or a new data is added into your CRM, it will automatically move that into your segment. It will automatically move it into this segment of Washington CEOs, right? And that is a big time saver. If your CRM does that, very good. If it doesn't, you can just use Tezcara CRM, which we will actually see today after we have finished this uh, presentation as to how we can do segmentation and run amazing email campaigns using Tezcara CRM. There are a couple of bonus tips though, right? Clean your email list regularly. Why? Because if you do not clean them and you keep sending out emails to the same people over and over again, and you know that, okay, these folks are not responding, at some point of time they are going to either block you or put you in spam, or maybe complain about you to some of the authorities or the ISP or whoever. And that's going to hit your domain reputation. It's going to get you blacklisted at some point of time. So please, please, please clean your email list. If you notice, for example, that somebody has not opened any email in, let's say, the last 6 months, remove them from the list. Maybe put them in a separate list, and you can try sending them a different sequence, which is like a goodbye sequence, or try to get them back sequence with something more relevant for them. Again, it's a question of segmentation. You create a segment of inactive users, and then for that segment you have to personalize the content that you're going to send out to them, to try to reach out to them to see what can be done for them. But again, I mean, if they're not responding, cut your losses, remove them, do not let them be here. Also, if you have a list, right, and your bounce rates are high, like more than 2% high, then use email verifier tools. There are multiple email verifier tools available. There is Unbouncer, there is Novio. uh, I mean, there are many tools which are available for free that will help you verify the emails that you have in your email list. What you want to do is you want to remove all the ones that have been inactive, that they find out to be incorrect, which will help you reduce your bounce rates, help you get better open rates, and tell your ISP and the email servers that you are sending out to that, hey, these emails are proper, genuine. They are not just shooting it out to everybody in the world. Then there is this concept called double opt-ins. So what is a double opt-in? If somebody has subscribed, let's say, if somebody has, let's say, downloaded an ebook using your email, right? Then maybe you ran a small campaign or a sequence which wanted, and the objective was of that was to let people download an ebook, which is like the first step in your funnel, right? Maybe they have not bought something now, so you put them in that segment that, okay, these guys came in but they did not buy something, so there's a segment for that. And you can send them a double opt-in confirmation that we will continue sending you emails like this, the one that you found useful. Would you want to receive that? And please confirm that here. And that is a double opt-in, basically a double confirmation, wherein you're getting their buy-in to you to keep sending them emails. Otherwise, they might be, I mean, they might have been interested in getting that first email, but they might not be interested in getting the next email from you, right? uh, Whereas if you use double opt-in, then you are kind of getting their buy-in right there, and chances are that they're not going to block you or put you in spam, etc. It will help you keep your domain reputation intact. All right, so there are a few questions here. So there is a videos take a longer time to load. Yes. So what I would suggest is, do not embed a video in your email. You can easily put I mean, so when I say embed, I mean, what you want to do is you want to embed the YouTube link or a Vimeo link or some kind of a link that already exists elsewhere, right? You don't want to put a video inside the email. Don't do that. That is going to reduce the. I mean, that's going to negatively impact the experience. So it's not a good idea to embed a video directly into the email. Don't do that. Right?
Excuse me.
So, yeah, that brings us to an end. If you want this presentation, this all the slides here, they will be available. We will be updating that in the YouTube video, the place to download that, and you will be getting that through our email as well. The ones that you wanted to get. So that brings us to an end, and we are going to see a demo of how we can use dynamic segments in Descara CRM, and how to set up your campaigns and run, very effective campaigns which give you your click-through rates, which give you your open rates, and the ones which will help you actually comply with can spam and everything else, to make sure that you are covered, right? And if you want a personalized demo for that, here's the link. This will also be available in the YouTube description. So you can just click on it and book a personalized demo with one of our experts. Might be David. You never know. So yeah, please do that. And now over to David, who will take us through the demo for Descara CRM, especially the segmentation and email campaigns.
Excellent. So I'm just going here to see my wonderful CRM system. So you can see here the organizations, people, deals lost, deals won, contact report, any upcoming activities, deal stages, deals won versus lost, our campaigns. So inside here, we're talking about campaigns. I can see my email sent, who read it, and Kung unsubscribing, which is very sad. And I can see it all here. So I get a quick image of it and my tickets here. I can also go to my campaign and I can drill in. So for example, Friday Matters, I can see here that, how many people have opened, clicked, bounced, and who's unsubscribed from it inside here. So let's go to segments. So actually, let me just go to my contacts and show you. I created some custom fields here inside here. So you can see here, for example, I have my follow-up. Do they want me to call back? Is it email related? The product interest here, are they interested in certain types of products? For example, I'm just using computers, keyboards, monitors. You can think of it as other information as well. For example, we were just talking about taxes earlier, and you can think of it like GSTs in Singapore. So if you're going to contact contact sales about GST tax compliance, then you want to send it to Singapore. In the US, it has a different tax compliance. UK has a different tax compliance. So you have to break it and segment by different countries. And of course, I have my different labels and views. So let's go to marketing. Let's go to segments. Excuse me. And I can add a segment here. So maybe I want to see all the computers. So computers, people who like computers. So for example, inside marketing, we also have forms. So we can create forms and you can embed that on your web page, for example. And one of the drop-down lists, products interested, for example, and I can have they can select which products they're interested. So when they create, it can populate. And then I can just click filter here. And I can add a custom value. So for inside here, I can click on products interested. The value is computers, for example. And I can apply. And you can see it's now added this in here. I can see any open deals, owner, and the different ones here as well. I can also filter again. So for example, if I want to do, let's see, labels, maybe I want to see only warm leads, and I want to see hot leads. Not interested in cold leads. They're not. And then you can see it also filters that out as well. So for example, I only are interested in sending this email campaign to people that are active and or potentially active. So I can choose that as well. And you can see here, label warm lead, hot lead, and product interest is company, and then I can save it. Oh yeah, sorry, I have to select. Click here to select. Yes, selected. Save. And you can see my contacts are added. I can see the members. And I can drill in and see here, related segments. let me click on one that's actually been sent out. For example, let me go to this computer's here. So I can see my campaigns here, and I can see here that they received it, and who's unsubscribed? Kung is unsubscribed. Very sad. Next, let's go to campaigns. Inside here, I can create an add a campaign. So for example, we can add in a name for the campaign. So maybe new computers or something like that. You know, this is something maybe they're interested in computers. So maybe new computers. And I can make it different new computers that are available or new computers at the store or something like that. I can choose my category. Is it marketing? I can add a category here. Excuse me. I can click next. Then I can select my segment. So maybe I want to select computers. And I can see the creation date and the number of members. So let me go to actually to this one. This one has 8 members created today. People who likes computers. I click next, and this is where I can see all the different pre-designed templates. And we can, for example, use a blank template. Maybe I want to use a single column. Let me use this one. So for example, let me see. Let's see. Hi, placeholder. First name, right? That's what we want. Hi, John. We have new computers, for example. And then you can add an image of a computer if you have one, or we don't want images, but he said one would be okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, it depends on the context. I mean, at what stage that person is. So you have to be careful in terms of how you're using these guidelines.
Yes. So I can see here the drop down, and I can look here and see what's been uploaded, and I can select it. I can drag and drop one. But for this case, let's just delete this. We'll go with no images here. I can say, very simple, what's it called? I don't know. You like computers.
I am glad you're not writing our email copy, David. So
Yes. This is why I don't do these email things. There's a reason why I'm in IT and not in marketing. So I can do this. We can also add in a button. For example, we're talking about buttons here. So I can drag and drop a button in here. Let me see. Yes, I can input the text. Don't say download or something. What's it called?
get it. Get it now.
Now. Maybe not so many exclamation points. Then I can put in the protocol, the URL, maybe www.cnn.com. So they'll really, and I can save it, and I have my get it now button. This is just for example, moving around, and you put more information here. And this is for the CAM Spam Act. So you have to put in your email, your address, and your unsubscribe. You must allow them to unsubscribe. If not, you're in violation. And you can't send it to unsubscribed people. So since Kung unsubscribed, I'm no longer allowed to send it to him, which is very depressing. I can press save and continue. And I can see my template. Again, you can do better templates than this. This is just something I'm creating quickly. Click next. I can put in the sender's name. So first, you can use your own email. You can add up to 5 accounts. So if I click here, this is where you can put in and add all your information. So you can use your own email here. I'm just going to use Descara's. So I'm just going to click here. I'm going to put in David from Earth. Put in the email address. I can use a different one to apply. I can send now or schedule for later and send test email. So if I schedule for later, I can decide if I want to schedule it for what time. For example, if I'm sending it to Singapore, it may not be good to send now because it's 2 a.m. in the morning or 1:30 in the morning. So I may want to send it at a reasonable time, maybe PM, and I can set it here and I can schedule it. Go to my computers and I can click on here and I can clone, send test email, I can preview it, I can unsubscribe it, and I can delete it. And when I go in here, I can drill down and I can see open, clicked, bounced. I can see Kung unsubscribed again. Last open and total open. Sorry, I just can't believe you unsubscribed.
So so we just saw how we can create This is weird. Okay, you can see my face now. Very nice. I don't know who it is nice for, but okay. So, yes. So one thing, David, I think we ought to show is workflow automation. We have workflow automation that allows you to create a series, and you can basically create your drip campaign, and you can automate your drip campaign here using the automation tools that we have available in Deskera.
All right, sounds good. Let's go to workflow. All right, let's click here. And let's click on Deskera Workflow Engine. Excuse me. Yep. And inside here is where you're going to be able to create your different segments. This is not good. 1 second. I'm not sure what happened here. Let me go back to incognito mode. Sorry about that. Now let's go here to... Yes. Sorry. Let me share my screen again.
Yeah, go ahead. No problem.
Sorry about that. Sure.
These things happen. That is why you should always keep clearing the cache from time to time. And
I know.
Don't click on those all the links that you get in your email, David.
But they're so interesting. All right, sign in now. Accept all cookies. Go here. Go to dashboard. All right. Switch to Deskera Workflow Engine. Yep, much better. All right, so you can see your total, live, paused, and draft workflow charts. I can see success and fail down here. And I can go here, and I can create a workflow.
So before we jump into that, let's just quickly talk about it here. So what is the workflow engine? It's a new tool that we have released. I mean, a few weeks ago actually, and what we really want is for you to go out there and use it and set up your automated email campaigns using this. And there are some templates that are available here. And what you really want to, I mean, so one use case that David, that we could focus on here is that anytime a contact is added to my system, right? Anytime a new contact is added to the CRM, correct? Then I can initiate a welcome series to them. Welcome series are one of the best series, that you can initiate for getting high engagement from your users, from your customers, from your prospects. Welcome mail followed with some goodies, so maybe I want to send them a welcome mail, then maybe 1 week later I want to send them some resource to download, then another week after that, I just build my email funnel there, and that email funnel will allow me to convert that person from somebody who is a contact or a lead into a subscriber or a user of my product. And that is the kind of use case that we can do here using the workflow automation tool. So yeah, let's go on with this.
All right, so we'll create a basic contact workflow. I can put in the name. Maybe, yeah, let's call it basic contact workflow. Oh, basic. Okay, so let's call this.
I am so glad you're not writing our email copy, David.
Yes, I don't write the email. Contact the contact.
Contact the contacts. Very engaging.
Yes.
Yeah. It is grabbing all my attention right now.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
So inside here, once you create a contact, our trigger is trigger 1. Then I can go here and add send mail. So I can use my template or a basic template based upon my requirements. So if I use a basic template, I can say Deskera email services. And if I have more, I can use my own here. Email trigger 1. Email at my subject. Welcome to the company. Maybe not welcome to the company. What's a trigger? Trigger is the event. So for example, this was trigger 1 is based upon the contact here. You can see This is the variable name called trigger one. And this is what's actually happening. So you see here, it says trigger one and then email. So it's creating an email and sending it out.
So every time there is a it's causality basically in its essence. It is causality, right? There is cause and there is an effect. So the cause here is that contact getting created in Descara CRM, which is what we call a trigger. So that triggers a series of events or the workflow automation that David is building here, which will allow us to, as soon as an event happens, which is in this particular case creation of a contact, then an email is being triggered. So you are triggering an email as that event happens, and then that email will become a trigger for something else that you can create, and you can build your entire drip sequence using that.
Correct.
So yeah, let's go ahead.
So I say, hi, trigger thing, trigger1.name. So that's his name. What's it called? Welcome to my company? That's not very engaging. Okay. Again, I'm not a marketing guy. Hi, trigger name. Welcome to our organization. I hope you are happy here. And
You
then
can never leave.
you are here forever. You can never go. And then I can go.
Then
and
you can also put a meme there, like that people come here on of their own volition, but they leave only when I want them to, and stuff. So don't make it creepy, David.
Okay, resend enabled. I can go here and I can say, is it yes or no? And I resend after how many days, hours, or minutes. And retry count. So I can annoy him to death, so he'll unsubscribe. Then I can create an activity, for example, after that, like trigger name, like a column. And I can say create activity after how many days? So maybe after 1 day, create this activity. Duration is going to be not days. Who calls for days? Maybe an hour. And I'm going to assign it to David. And then I can go here and click on this. I can see update contact, create activity. I can do another logic. Flow control, set variety, set delay. So maybe I want to set a delay.
Yeah, basically you want to send another follow-up email after a week.
Yes, so maybe wait 7 days. And then I want to do a notification. I want to send another email. And inside here, I can do another basic email here. Send from Descarmio or my own email to contact email address. So you can see here, let me just click on that. Yes, not twice. Email, subject. Hi, contact name. Oops, sorry. So used to double clicking. Are you still with us? Question mark. Again, I'm not a marketing guy. Dear,
It's been 1 week.
I know. We hope you survived that log. Your name? Hope you are doing well. For example, I can retry intervals, I can do resending, and I can click done, for example. And I can continue doing this with delays and other information and keep going forward.
And you can also, so this is a flow that David is building, which is an automation workflow here. You can create your own workflows by adding the proper triggers, by adding the proper delays and actions. So it's not limited to only just linear. I mean, you can even branch out from here. So for one action, you can have two simultaneous parallel actions being created. Yeah, so you can do that.
For example, set variable, create a variable and assign the value. For example, contact names or create activity names. So you can do all sorts of stuff. And you can see I'm just branching out. I can create a specific email for this one as well, send another email. I can go and also create, for example, under apps, create another activity. So for example, maybe I want this activity created. Give them a call and reassure everything's going to be all right. Or send an email here. Excuse me. So you can see I'm just dragging and dropping what I want here. I can link them back to both here So you can branch out as much as you'd like.
Awesome. So that's great. And David, thank you so much for showing that workflow automation as well as segmentation and running email campaigns using Descara CRM. Please remember, if you want to have a personalized demo, here's the link. This is also going to be available in the YouTube description. So please book a demo, and we will show you how you can run better campaigns, do better segmentation, and just help improve your open rates and click-through rates, and engage and your engagement metrics with Descara CRM. With that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, David, for your commentary and for the fabulous hair.
Thank you.
It's not windy now, is it?
No, the wind has stopped.
The wind stopped. All right. With that, I bid you all adieu. Till next time, have a good day.
Have a great day ahead.